Happy to be joined with Steve Garcia. He's going to be stepping up on short notice to take on Kyle Nelson, UFC Fight Night, September 7th. It's next weekend. Steve, how's it going?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. We didn't talk that long ago. I remember you were telling me about this great fishing trip you had planned and all that, but now you're stepping up to fight Kyle Nelson. So the most important question before we talk about this fight, did you get some time off at all, or was it right back to business?
No, it's right back to business, man. I'm in desperate need of some fishing.
Yes, you told me the whole story. You were sitting on the dock and eating some with some spits or whatever that thing is, and fishing and all that. So after this fight, for sure, though, that's got to happen, right?
Yeah, so I was supposed to go on the trip on that weekend, literally. So
okay, gotcha. Yeah,
I was going to be gone that weekend fishing. So we pushed it back to the following weekend. So I'm happy that we were still able to make that actually happen, because it's getting kind of later where we plan to go and stuff. So it's going to work out. You know what I mean? So thank God.
Yeah, no, for sure. Same place though. Where was this place again? You mentioned. I was trying to remember exactly where it was.
It's Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Oh, that's right, in Idaho. That's right.
Yeah.
I was thinking. I knew it started with an I. I didn't think it was Illinois. They don't have much fishing there, but Idaho makes sense. So how did this all come together? Because obviously we heard that Calvin Kattar's out of his fight with Kyle Nelson. Was it something you kind of took note of, or did your management kind of catch it and say, "Hey, Steve, are you ready to go?"
They asked me if I would be willing to step up on the opportunity, and honestly, I always kind of had an idea I'd probably fight this guy at some point. I was hoping for at least a month maybe before I even consider another fight, but it just took him a week just like, hey, you wanna round two?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, man, let me talk to my coaches and make sure everybody's good on board. So I got some, I got another contract out of it.
Oh, cool! Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, so I got another contract out of it, and then I fight Kyle Nelson stepping in, for Calvin Kattar, and Calvin Kattar's what, 6 or something like that. So I think if I can beat Kyle Nelson, then I'm like, bro, how many more times are you gonna deny me as someone in the rankings? You know what I mean? So I'm trying to be undeniable, man. That's what I've been trying to do, and so it's been working. I'm full speed ahead. We're gonna go out there and give it our all with Kyle Nelson, and hopefully, man, same outcomes that have been happening are going to continue to happen, and I'll do everything in my power to make sure that it happens.
Well, and think about it this way, that fishing trip, if all goes well, you get the win, you got the new contract, maybe you get that ranked opponent after this. After your last fight, you never know, right, who they're going to give you. But now, it could all work out for the best. Could be the best fishing trip ever if all goes well here on September 7th. But let's talk about Kyle a little bit. 16-5-1 record. This has got Fight of the Night written all over it, especially with the way both of you guys have been in your last few fights. How are you looking at the stylistically? Is this going to be like Rock'em Sock'em Robots? What are you expecting?
I would never count that out with me. As far as him, I don't know, man. I don't know. He does like that right overhand. It's caught. I think last person caught was Algeo. He has power in it for sure. So you definitely have to respect that. He's kind of like this, I don't know. He knows how to win, and he knows how to poke. He pokes at you. He pokes, oh, does this work? Does that work? Does this work? Does that work? And then he's also been in positions where where he's almost kind of desperate. And then he finds out what works. And then he's like, luckily that thing worked because I was struggling in this department. So, he's a pretty decent problem solver, man. I feel like that's going to be, that's something that, I got to make sure that I'm aware of and everything. But, yeah, man, I think this is a very winnable fight for me. I'm going to go out there, of course. The win is a must for me. So we're going out there, guns blazing, and by any means necessary, to be honest. But Kyle Nelson is a worthy opponent. And, yeah, I respect him for sure.
Take me through sort of this shorter camp. I'm sure you were expecting to take some time off. Is it, you call up your coaches like, hey, we got to get something together here. We got to fight here in a few weeks.
Yeah, they wanted to make sure that my body was good. I didn't take very much damage in the last fight, so luckily that that being the case, I was able to just be like, all right, it's a little bit easier. I'm able to make sure my health is good. Most of the time, when my body's run down, it's not from the fight, it's from the fight camp. So yeah, I had a pretty extensive fight camp, pretty brutal and stuff. So though I did have a week before I got the call, and I was able to kind of just like not do a lot of stuff, which was very, very nice. So I had a very, very small window of just like chilling kind of. But my weight was low, and so I've been able to keep it pretty low. And I just pretty much has been maintaining it until probably this week. This week we're started the descent and trying to get a few extra pounds than we normally do than previous times. And so yeah, man, that's kind of like how it's been. Fight camps, pretty much picked up where we left off. I still feel strong. I feel fast. I almost felt a little bit faster than I was prior. I actually feel a little bit stronger than I was prior, just because I just, like I said, you just pick up where you left off, and just the things that change for me is just game planning. You know what I mean? So I get with Greg, wing and wing too, but Greg really likes to come up with that that's a cool way to say it, but pretty much the game plan. And he breaks it down. He watches this guy, and we just sit there, and he like looks at this, looks at that, watches like tendencies, and he's like, all right, see, this is how we're gonna beat him. This is what we're gonna do. I'm like, okay, all right. So then I listen to him, and then him and Wink, they collab to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And then I do all the friggin' really hard work with Wink, and we do the pad work, the repetitions. He gets small groups in for me on top of all our classes, and he just has people just like repping and simulating my opponents. Yeah, man, we're gonna be very prepared. We're gonna be very prepared. This could be the best you ever see me, to be honest. So I know what I'm capable of, and I have high expectations.
What about training partners? Who are some of the guys that you got to work with leading into this?
I mean, everybody has like kind of just been benefited me a lot. Like my small groups. I mean, I always have like solid people that are probably unnamed that you may not know, but Holly's been working a lot with me. Diego Brandau's been working a lot with me. Dan Argueta's been working a lot with me. We've been getting rounds with Aaron Pico like on the ground. That's been going well. And then I have like a couple of guys that kind of been coming in and out that really have been helping me. We have some up and comers. I have a buddy named Pablo, and he's been like really, really pushing forward. He kind of just joined the team maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, and guy's a stud. So we're trying to get him going, and he's been able to like really, really help me and simulate Kyle Nelson for me. So yeah, dude, like I have a good team. The team is building. The team is progressing. And, I got a good group of guys that are really just like, Steve, whatever you need, I'm there. Whatever time, I'm there. Like, that's what's awesome. I love my team, especially at Jackson Wing. To like even today, like I had a buddy, or Dan. Yeah, Dan. He's like, bro, I was going to go to Shark Tank at Gracie Baja's. He's like, you want to come with me? And I was like, well, I'm going to go to Greg's class tonight at 6. He's like, oh, you're okay. He's like, well, then I'll just go with you. I was like, oh, cool, bro. Like, I appreciate it. Like, those are the teammates that I have that are willing to like do whatever is necessary to see me succeed, and I'm very grateful, and I'm appreciative of that.
Cool. I love that. It must be so good. Like everyone's stepping up to the plate to help you get this opportunity and succeed and all that. And like you don't even, because I know sometimes that can be stressful, whether you have bodies in the gym or anything else, right? So it sounds like people are really stepping up for you, which is awesome. And,
yeah, the last opponent was a hard one to find bodies for, because he's just a little bit different, you know what I mean? So it's weird how like you kind of run into that, but we're looking good this camp.
How do you see this fight playing out? I don't think we're going to see the judges' scorecards knowing both of your styles.
I'd be like, I would not bet on that. That's for sure. I mean, I'm not saying it, never say never type of thing, but yeah, man, this is one that you would probably expect to finish in. I know I expect to finish. And I'll do everything in my power to make sure that as long as I'm kicking, bro, I'm going. You know what I mean? And I'm sure he's thinking the same thing. So yeah, man, this is potentially a fight of the nighter. One of us should be falling on the ground and not looking up. You know what I mean? We're going through our exchanges. So we'll see. I don't know. We're prepared for everything. You know what I mean? He actually has some pretty decent grappling. You can tell he's strong. He likes to take people to the cage. He's helped people there a couple of fights and stuff. And I don't know if it's just a stall to regain composure. whatever it is, we're ready for it. So yeah, man, guns blazing to come the 7th.
Wanted to ask you about a couple other fights like I usually do. We got the women's title fight coming up. Valentina Shevchenko, Alexa Grasso coming up a week after you. Who do you see taking the title?
Truly, I'm more of a fan of Shevchenko. I really am. I think she's so well rounded. I've always been a fan of her striking, and I'm a fan of Grasso too. But I gotta lean more towards Grasso. It just kind of seems like it's been her time. You know what I mean? Like to beat Shevchenko too, because they've gone twice, right?
I know. Yeah, they have. Yeah, draw, and Grasso submitted him the first fight, and then Shevchenko and her went to a draw the second fight.
Yeah, and honestly, even to have a draw with Shevchenko, that's saying something too, because man, Shevchenko is a baller, man. She's very, very good. But I don't know, man. Like you give so many chances to Shevchenko. I don't know, man. I don't know. But they know each other. Apparently, they already know each other. So let's see how this one plays out. You know, with third time's a charm, and Shevchenko might get it. But I don't know. Grasso's been pulling through.
What about Alex Pereira and Khalil Roundtree? What do you think of that fight for the light heavyweight title?
Oh man. So a lot of people don't know this, but I'm a huge Khalil Roundtree fan, man. Like I love his style so much, and I will take anything from that guy. I'm going with him just because he's like one of my favorites. But man, Pereira is he's that dude, just that one hitter quitter. That left hook will just sit you down, and Roundtree's been hit. You know what I mean? So the odds of him getting hit by that left hook very high. You know what I mean? But I can't express how inspirational like Khalil Roundtree's style has been for me. You know, he beats people down like they owe money, man, and I feel like I have a little bit of that in my style. So I like the guy.
But do you think he wins? There's a difference between liking a guy and thinking he might get it done. I mean, it's a tall task against Pereira. Like
I want him to get it done. I don't know how to give you an answer. I want him to get it done. And nothing to say against Pereira, but Pereira is just a monster, and he can sleep anybody. And man, it just sucks because I want to see my boy Khalil Roundtree win. But if I was a smart bettor, I'd probably go Pereira. To be honest.
And then just last one because he rebooked it. Robert Whittaker, Hamzat Chimaev. What do you think of that fight?
Whittaker for sure.
Okay.
I think Chimaev is he's good, but he's struggling with something. I don't know if it's his health. I don't know what exactly it is. The fact that Gilbert Burns took it to him, and I feel like Whittaker is almost like a step or two ahead of Gilbert Burns. That's a tall task, man. So I'm going with Whittaker on that one.
Wanted to mention this interview is brought to you by HKUSA. Use the code BANANA20s for 20% off your full order. Shout out to those guys. They're great. Let me ask you this. Like, Kyle was supposed to fight Calvin Kattar. If all goes well, you win this fight. Is that a fight you'd like after this? Because it seems to me like if you're fighting the guy that was supposed to fight him, it seems like that's a fight that could make sense for you next. Or what? I mean, it has to be a ranked opponent next, I would think, if you get this fight, if you get this win.
Yeah, man, I'm open to him. I at this point, like when the moment that you're knocking on the top 15 door, this is how I view it. Is that you're looking at like the valley of death, really. You know what I mean? And that's how I'm gonna approach it. Everybody's a killer. It doesn't matter who it is, whoever you give me. You know what I mean? Kattar's fine. Barboza. I really want a Dan Ige, but I don't think he's looking my way really. So, I don't know, man. Bryce Mitchell. Who else is up there, man? Like
Sodi Yusuf, Edson Barbosa. Those are some names too.
Yusuf.
Ige's booked, by the way. Ige's fighting Lerone Murphy at UFC 308.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, my manager and his manager talked. They said it was something they could see happening, but he's probably on his last leg too. He's trying to like go to his last shot to the title. I guess I don't know. So I guess I can't blame him. You know what I mean? Yeah, it is what it is, bro. I at that point, I don't really have a whole lot of control. I've never really had any control. Yeah, I've called people out. I've thrown names out there. Ultimately, it's just like whatever they give me at this point. So we'll see. That's why, man, I'm like trying to prepare for every single person that I possibly can because they're all fair game. You know what I mean? And it's just like. It's just your mindset sometimes, man. Your mindset's like, you're not fighting them. They're fighting me. You know what I mean? Like,
true.
it's like I'm coming up and I'm not trying to be egotistical or cocky. It's just like I am a problem too. That's just bottom line. I am also a problem. You don't have an easy chance with me. I'm always dangerous in there, no matter who is in there with me. So people can take that however they want to, but I promise you, it's not coming from a place of just cockiness. It's just like I'm in this too, you know?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. How many contracts is this for you now in the UFC? You mentioned getting a new one. Is this like contract number 3 or 4? Or how many have you had so far in the UFC?
This one's my 3rd.
That's awesome. Good for you, man.
Yeah,
Because some people don't see past their first contract. So, you know,
it
must be a little boost going into this fight knowing that they're behind you like this.
Yeah, I think that this is statistic-wise, I think it was the average UFC fighter last like 16 months, which is crazy. It's crazy. Just like, geez, that's like, you know, like a little less than a year and a half. That's wild, man. This game is so cutthroat. We've been here almost 4 years.
Yeah, you had your Contender Series fight. I was looking at this. Your Contender Series fight was back in 2019. And then you had to go fight in LFA after, and you got that win over Chepe, which is aged gracefully considering what he's been doing in the UFC too. So it's been pretty cool to see. Quickly, I just wanted to mention this, and we'll get to some video game talk as you and I were talking off air. Did you watch the middleweight title fight last Saturday with Dricus and Izzy? If so, what did you think of Dricus's performance?
I didn't watch it.
No, you didn't see it? Okay.
I didn't watch it.
Did you see the highlights or anything? Or
I saw some highlights. From what I've seen, it looked like Dricus was probably getting pieced up a little bit. Like I said,
he was losing in the striking for sure. I think like Izzy was ahead in that regard. He kept landing body shots. So
yeah, I kind of felt like it was kind of more like leaning on Adesanya. He probably got nailed with something that he just was struggling to recover from. And I feel like Dricus, like he threw one that's like right over the top, and it kind of caught him like more like on the upper part of his head, and those ones suck, dude. People don't. I mean, my very first like hard concussion was on the top of my head. Like I had my head down, and he drilled me straight down like in the middle of my head, and that was the first time like I've ever experienced like a concussion. I just needed to go outside, and it was like I got super overheated, and the next morning you get super nauseous, and it just goes on for like a week. It sucks, but yeah, man, those are brutal, man. So I understand, but I guess Dricus is just doing his thing, man. I don't think he beat what's his name, Son Strickland.
Yeah,
I don't feel like he beat him, but maybe I think they're gonna rerun it, right? So,
yeah, that's what it looks like is happening next. So
yeah, I think that's gonna be a fun one to watch. You know, I'm still a big Izzy fan. I think he's done great things, and belt or no belt, man, I think he's always a draw.
Yeah, well said. Let's talk some video games. What were you playing before we hopped on here? Because I know I interrupted some video game time for us doing this, which, by the way, I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. So the 2 games I'm stuck on right now, well, it's not even like I'm stuck. I'm playing Star Wars Last Survivor.
Okay.
And then I like to play Warzone. I play Call of Duty Warzone.
Nice. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that makes sense. So I was telling you off air, I just got a retro gaming device. It looks like an old Game Boy Advance, you know, the clamshell one that like has the thing. So it's like this retro gaming thing. It's called the RG35XXSP. I don't know why it's called that. If you look it up online, you'll see what I'm talking about, but it's got all the old retro games. And I was telling you, because I'm older than you, I was playing the old Castlevania from Game Boy. Like we're talking like 1991 this game came out. So I'm trying to pass it because I played it a bit as a kid, and now I'm like, I want to actually finish it. So that's what I'm playing now. Because you know this too, like being a dad, like I don't get a lot of video game time, so I like the older games because it's easier to figure out. Like it's A, B, up, down. Like I don't need to do like a whole storyline or anything with a lot of these newer games. So I play a lot of the old retro ones because there's still a lot of games I never played, right? So
yeah. Well, like I noticed, like when I play like Call of Duty or whatever the case is, like you're playing, like I play mainly live. I don't really play a whole lot of story modes or anything like that. Like the Star Wars one is the first story mode I played in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't play
You're
like
just chipping away at it. Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I normally play Madden. I'm not playing the UFC game until I'm in it. So
I like that. That's a good strategy. Yeah.
Yeah, until I'm in it, I'm not gonna play it. So I've been kind of just like holding off. But I used to play the older ones. You know what I mean? Yeah, dude, I'm more of a sports guy. I'll play the sports. My brother's the one who's like into like The Last of Us and all those ones. Those and they seem fun, but they take a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even the Star Wars one's been taking me quite some time, but I also like the old school ones that you are playing right now. Especially it's kind of cool that you talk about like the old Game Boy, because man, I was raised on the Game Boy, and then I remember like even my dad like he bought the games for my old PlayStation that had like Galaga and like Centipede and
Oh yeah,
all
the
those
old
ones
school
too.
ones.
Yeah, the old school ones, and those are all fun too. So like, yeah, man, I kind of grew up on video games and stuff. It's never like taken over my life. I mean, like my brother probably is
Closer to that, yeah.
borderline.
You're the knockout
borderline
artist. Your
game.
brother's the video game guy. There you go.
Yeah, man. Well, he knocks people out too, man. He had a boxing fight this year, and dude,
Oh, cool. I don't know that.
he dropped the guy like three. So they did like it was a firefighters versus police officers, because my brother's a police officer, and they did, I think, four 1 minute rounds or 4 2-minute rounds, and dude, he knocked the guy down. If he didn't knock him down, he got a standing 8. But he got about 2 or 3 within a minute or 2 minutes. I can't remember which one to which. And then they finally like ended it in the third. And dude, he's my big little brother, or he's my little big brother. No, either way.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, he's my younger brother, but homeboy's like 6'4", 220. You know what I mean? But I taught him how to fight, and man, he knows how to use it, because he knocks people out too. But he loves playing the video games. I will say that.
It's UFC Fight Night coming up here next Saturday. Sorry, 2 Saturdays from now. We're off next week, and then it's the week after. I always forget that. I always get the timelines mixed up. But Steve, thanks for doing this, man. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media you want to mention, I'll give you the last word.
Oh, thanks, man. Well, I appreciate you having me on. If you guys, want to follow me, follow me on Instagram, MeMachine505. I do have a TikTok. You're more than welcome to follow me on that. I'm not crazy on that one. It's kind of more just, like I said, memes back and forth between my family. But I think it's fun. And yeah, man, always God gets his glory for me all the time. You always see me like hyping up my family, my coaches, my team, JW, Hydro Bar, all these guys that have been sticking with me. And so if you guys are watching this, thank you so much for all your support.
There we go.